Hello, this is G.E.M. by me, Jane Clarke, illustrated by Garry Parsons, and G.E.M. stands for Green-Eyed Monster, which is a jealous sort of monster, because jealousy is a horrible, horrible feeling. Now, sometimes you can remember exactly where you were when an idea popped into your head, and in this case I remember exactly where I was, and I was lucky enough to be with some friends so we could all discuss the idea and I could begin to get some ideas for how the story might go. And the place was in Hulst in the Netherlands. It was a cafe where I was having a cup of coffee with my mates Avril, Julie and Gru. So I wonder if you remember that too, Avril, Julie and Gru. Hello. So, Green-Eyed Monster, it's set in the future where everybody has to carry one or go around with their little creature, which has the potential to get bigger when they get jealous. Royd hopped off the school rocket and rushed inside. Got a space pod for his birthday today, said Royd. His green-eyed monster, here it is, opened an eye. Gark's a bit young to have a space pod, isn't he? Asked Mum. He's only a week older than you. Gark's mum says he can go to Mars on his space pod whenever he likes, Royd said. Royd's green-eyed monster opened 3 more eyes. Keep an eye on your G.E.M, said Mum. Don't worry, said Royd, it's under control. And Mum took a tray of homemade reddies off the scoff pod. And there she is. That's the scoff pod. Gark's birthday party begins at 20:30, said Mum. You have time to play hide and bleep with Zappy before you go. Hooray, squeaked Zappy. You hide, Royd. Hide and bleep, Royd muttered as he squeaked behind Mum's sit pod to hide. Gark doesn't have to play with little sisters. Gark can just go to Mars. Shh. Royd was so jealous of Gark that his G.E.M. puffed itself up to twice its normal size. Bleep, squeaked Zappy. I can see your G.E.M. It's ever so big, Royd. Don't worry, said Royd. It's under control. Love that. Love Garry's illustrations. At 20:15, Royd and Zappy clipped their G.E.Ms onto leads and set off for Gark's birthday party. Zappy's G.E.M floated along beside her. Here it is. Heel, Royd ordered, but his G.E.M kept floating off after other children's shiny space scooters and dragging Royd after it. It's quite jealous. It's dragging him after it. They arrived at Gark's birthday party at 20:30. Gark's mum was just leaving. Sorry I can't stay, she said, giving Gark a hug. The nanny bot will look after you. Work to do, gotta fly. Wow, Zappy said. Gark's got a booster bouncer. I bet you won't have one at your birthday party next week, Royd. Royd looked at the booster bouncer and swoosh. Royd was so jealous that his G.E.M puffed up to 3 times its normal size, and that made it very difficult to bounce on the booster bouncer. At 3 pips past 33, a magician from Mars arrived with a transporter. And now, he said, I shall transport a dragon from ancient China. Ta-da! A dragon trotted out of the transporter and it lit the 5 zillion candles on Gark's birthday cake. Wow, said Zappy. I bet you won't get a dragon to light your birthday cake next week, Royd. Royce was so jealous that his G.E.M puffed up to 10 times its normal size. Keep an eye on your G.E.M, the magician said. If you're not careful, it will gobble you up. Don't worry, gasped Royd, struggling to keep his G.E.M. on the lead. It's under control. The magician from Mars organised the entertainment. Wow, yelled Zappy as they whirled round the rings of Saturn. I bet we won't get to do this at your birthday party next week, Royd. Swoosh. Royd's G.E.M. grew 100 times bigger. It started to drool and its eyes began to flash. Help, yelled Royd. My G.E.M.'s breaking the lead. It's out of control. And Royd's G.E.M. opened its mouth and it gobbled him up. Whoa. Zappy dragged Royd's G.E.M. home. Oh dear, said Mum. Poor Royd. It's horrible to be gobbled up by your G.E.M. Happened to me when my baby brother was born. And to me when my best friend got a space hopper for his birthday, said Dad. Royd's G.E.M. opened its mouth and Royd's head popped out. Got a booster bouncer and a transporter and a dragon, he said. It's not fair. Things aren't always fair, Mum said. I know that, Royd said, but Gark has everything. Dad gave Royd a huge hug. No one has everything, he said. Next week, Royd's G.E.M. was back to its normal size in time for Royd's birthday party. They played Pin the Antennae on the Andromedan. Dad organised 35 games of musical Martians and Mum made Plutonian pizza and a sparkling space pod birthday cake. Everyone had fun. Great party, Gark said when it's time to go. You're so lucky, Royd. I am? Asked Royd. Yes, said Gark. My mum has to travel a lot because of her job, and I don't have a little sister to play with. And Gark was so jealous of Royd's that Gark's G.E.M. puffed itself up to twice its normal size. But you get to go to Mars whenever you like, Royd said, and I don't. And Royd's G.E.M. grew too, so both of them. I'd rather have someone to play with than go to Mars on my own, Gark said. Oh, said Royd, and Gark's G.E.M. shrank back to normal. Why don't you stay a bit longer, Royd said. Mum's making readies. We can have a game of hide and bleep with Zappy. Great, said Gark, and his G.E.M. shrank back to normal size too. The readies are ready, Mum called. Royd, Gark and Zappy rushed to the scoff pod. Yummy, Gark said. My mum never has time to bake readies. She's too busy travelling round the Milky Way. She's so lucky, sighed Mum. I'd love to see the Milky Way, but all I do is stay at home. Mum, said Royd, keep an eye on your G.E.M. It's okay, I've got it under control, said Mum. Good, said Royd. You don't want to be gobbled up by your green-eyed monster, do you? Everybody has a green-eyed monster, don't they? We just have to keep it under control.